This podcast discusses real-life experiences that may include topics such as grief, trauma, medical or mental health challenges, and other emotionally sensitive content. Please take care of yourself while listening, and if at any point in the conversation you feel overwhelmed, it's okay to pause, step away, or skip this episode entirely. While some of our guests are licensed professionals, the Holiday Survival Podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered medical, psychological, or therapeutic advice. If you are struggling or need support, please reach out to a qualified healthcare provider or mental health professional. Now, let's begin. The holidays can be the most wonderful time of the year, or they can literally be the worst. That's why I'm bringing back the Holiday Survival Podcast, the show that gets real about a season that isn't always merry and bright. If the holidays bring up stress, grief, pressure, complicated family dynamics, or just big emotions, you are in the right place. My name is Erin and I am your host. In each episode, we'll have honest conversations, share practical tools, and offer hope for anyone navigating the messy, beautiful, and emotional reality of this time of the year. No forced cheer, no sugarcoating, just real stories, real support, and reminders that you are not alone. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Welcome back to the Holiday Survival Podcast. In this episode, we are talking about something that most of us could use a little more of during the holidays: genuine connection. My guest today is Juliette Karaman Van Schaardenburg, an intimacy expert who helps people communicate in the ways that actually land and use touch as a tool for calm and closeness. She's joining us to share practical ways to navigate holiday stress, handle emotional triggers, and find real moments of intimacy, whether you're a family, a partner, or on your own. Juliette, thank you so much for being here. You know I love you. We've been friends for a while, so I'm just so glad to be here having this conversation with you. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, so that our listeners can get to know you?
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you. My name's Juliette, as you already heard, Juliette Karaman. I'm a Dutchie. I live in the UK. And at first I started working with children on the spectrums and really getting them to communicate their feelings, their emotions. And the last 15 years, it's been with couples and it's been with singles, more in relationships and also with body issues and with just shame and how in touch are they with themselves. And when we think about touch, we often think about just physical touch. But when I talk about touch, it's like I talk about touch that lands. Like it could be a concept. The way that someone explains something to you, you're like, oh man, I've been struggling with this for years and now that finally lands. So that's how I talk about touch, how you're being touched in life. That could be emotionally, that could be spiritually, that could be energetically, physically, and obviously erotically as well. But there are so many different ways that we let life touch us. Communication is a big one, but also just like how open are we? How much do we numb ourselves out? I've worked with hundreds of couples and a lot of women that have had a lot of sexual trauma on board. So I have formed a way to get the most out of most people because we may not know what we're actually missing because we've numbed ourselves out so much.
I can relate to that sentiment, so I totally know what you're talking about. In this episode, we're going to be talking mainly through the holiday lens, which the holidays can be a beautiful time, but they can also be very overwhelming. Why do you think that people struggle with connection or communication during this season more than most?
So I think first and foremost, just like intimacy, holidays, we haven't actually been taught what we each think about holidays. How do you want to spend it? So one of my cards would be that actually I'm gifting to your listeners is tell me what you think about holidays. How do you like to celebrate? Do you like to be in community? Do you like to be with your family? Then, what are the triggers in your family? Is there someone that speaks? And do you actually know that being with your family for 45 minutes is the maximum that you can be before you start leaving your body, or you start getting angry, or there's grandma that talks on top of you. There are all these stressors that when you bring a family together that's supposed to have a beautiful time together, but that actually could trigger a lot of emotions. People speak on top of each other. Tell me what it feels like when you get interrupted. Does that shut you down? There are a lot of dynamics that we may not even be aware of. We don't know how we got programmed that way, but it's just something gets triggered in us. And the more that we can just have a bit of curiosity, when say you don't get along with your brother so much, but you come together for the holidays and then you have the added family to that. It's okay, I can be in the same room with him for 45 minutes, 60 minutes, and then I need to go and put myself out. How do I deal with that? Put a little alarm on your phone and just say, I need to just check on this. And even if it's as little as 5 minutes alone, in the loo, in the bathroom, do some breathing, do something which I call touch base. So you put your fingers, your thumb and your forefinger together, you take a breath. You only focus on your fingers. It also uses EFT meridians, it uses Chinese meridians, it uses a lot of stuff. But you just notice on that, what does it feel like to come back to your breath, to only focus your attention on your two fingers? You'll start noticing your breath slowing down, your heart rate moving down, and you're actually back in your body. That's often what we need when we're with family, because it can just get noisy and you can get triggered. He'll say something not meaning it, but you're like a 7-year-old again where, he's running behind you trying to catch you and you've got some kind of like imprint in your body. You have to get away.
That makes so much sense. And I'm sitting here thinking, I can think of a few situations where I'm going to be sitting in the bathroom, putting my fingers, just focus on the fingers, because yikes, I know that there's a lot of people out here listening that will be able to use even just that one trick that you just talked about. And then I love the idea of the cards. This would be fantastic in dating, because I know personally there was a guy I was talking to and he had a big thing about exit plans. Like, you always have an exit plan in mind whenever you go to a family event. And now, of course, I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, what is my exit strategy? And that's something that you want to talk about whenever you're in the beginning of the relationships. And I think probably something you want to continue talking as time goes on. That makes sense. So I'm really loving this idea that you have about having these conversations. You talk about communication and touch that lands. What does that mean, and how can we tell when it isn't landing?
Beautiful. Such a good question. All right. So often you'll speak at your partner or to a family member or to whoever, and you'll just see their eyes gloss over and it's not landing. And I see this oftentimes in families where you'll be talked at and you're just not getting it. So it's like change tactics. Can you do something tactile that will help the person understand what you're trying to say? So often, and especially in the holidays, someone will tell you something and they think that you're all open for this. You're like, yeah, just give it to me. I'm ready for this. You don't know what's going on for them. So one of the most beautiful ways that I communicate with my partner is sometimes I'll need to vent, but I'll go when he's in his office. I'll walk there. I'm like, hey, Alex, do you have 10 minutes? What's your bandwidth like? And he's like, yeah, no, I'm right in the middle of a deal, because we never know where we're at. In holidays, we're supposed to be in our best behavior and 24/7 together, and you're just available for everyone. So first of all, I would say, hey, I'm not available for that right now. You want to have a communication with me, you want to tell me that something's bothering you, absolutely, but can we do that tonight when the kids are in bed and all? Between 7 and 7:30 works for me. Are you good with that? So it's like offers and counter offers. And we're just not used to doing that very often, because in the holiday season, everyone's supposed to be happy and everyone's supposed to come together. But that's also when the most rupture works, when the most repair is needed after a holiday.
That's making so much sense. I do that even with my friends. It's one of those things where I don't want to just dump all of my issues onto them, so I check their bandwidth. I think that's a really good practice to get into, honestly, with everyone. So I like that a lot. When the emotions are high between family tension, stress, because there's all kinds of stress, travel stress, financial stress, too many things to do.
Food stress. What are we going to eat and what are you going to bring? And I've got all these dietary requirements.
All the dietary restrictions of it all. What's one way that people can ground themselves or their relationships in that moment?
I would definitely. The touch base is one of them, right? So it's really, and I'm going to sound very inappropriate, but we're clenching. So I tell people, it's like unclench your butthole. Actually notice that your butt cheeks are clenched most of the time. And can we just, I know it's very inappropriate, but can we just loosen up a little bit? And sometimes it's as little as just shaking your hips a little bit. It's, oh yeah, I actually am clenching somewhere. And it might just be clench your hands. And then all of a sudden you notice you're clenching your jaw. It's, oh, unclench and be curious. Instead of assuming they are projecting something on you, which they might be, let's be honest. Just saying, hey, what did you mean there? I'm curious. I'm not sure I understood.
I love that. I can even tell personally, there's been a few times in the past week where I think I must have been clenching for long periods of time, because when I went to bed and then woke up the next morning, it's like I felt like I got ran over by a train.
Right. And that's what it feels like.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I didn't do a whole workout. There's no reason for me to feel like I got ran over by a train. And then it's, you know what? I think I might have been stressed yesterday.
Unclenching is one. I would say also it's like before you go and visit your families, or even before you go in, just do your touch base and clench. If you can go outside and just ground a little bit, imagine that your feet and your hands have zippers. You unzip them, you put them on the floor and your hands on a table or on a wall or on a tree, and just imagine that you're bringing all that energy that's in your body and maybe all the thoughts and the stress, and you just bring it down into the earth and you just let it out through the zippers. Take a few breaths. You might want to move your hips or anything in a figure 8 kind of helps moves it through too. So all of those, unclenching, the touch base, the zipping and throwing all the energy back out into the earth, you're in the best way physically to enter an energetic space or a physical space.
I love that. So let's talk about physical connection. For someone like me who might not be comfortable with touch, what are some gentle ways to start building that comfort?
Physical touch?
Yes.
I have just created a whole deck called the Touch Languages. And really, I've split it into emotional, physical, energetic, erotic, and spiritual. And one of the things is, tell me, what does physical touch mean to you? And we've probably never been asked that question.
I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, yeah, no, I haven't really even thought about that.
I took someone yesterday through some physical touch because she loves touch. And I took something as simple as, I'm just trying to see what I can do it with here and demonstrate. I have a pen. We all have a pen. Do you have a pen near you?
I got a pen.
Great. So I want you to take a pen and put it close to your inside of your wrist, just above it, hover. And can you feel it there? And then slowly land it. What does that feel like on your wrist? To have the pen just go up your wrist, a few inches up, and then slowly down. Mine is cold. I like the cold.
It is a little bit cold.
That's interesting. And then maybe do it with your fingers. What does that feel like to receive your nails up your wrist, just physical touch by yourself?
I personally have a tendon that is ruptured. So that's what I feel.
Wasn't there.
My aunt was like, you need to get that looked at. I'm a pianist by trade, so yeah.
Maybe the wrist is not your place. Maybe it's the outside of your ear that you can just slowly start to stroke and just start becoming a detective. Is that pleasurable? Is it sensational? Do I like it? Do I not like it? It could be like, yeah, nothing. For someone else, it might just be like, oh, maybe a bit of a head massage or playing with my hair. What are the things that relax you, that you enjoy? And it doesn't have to be physical touch, but it's like, what kind of physical touch do I like? Do I like someone grounding me on my shoulders? Most people have no clue what they like, how they want to be touched physically in non-erotically way, just like mother to child or friends. Think about it like energetically. When someone comes up to you to give you a hug, are you like, yo, stay away from me a bit? Or is it like, squeeze me long and hard? Or it's all
It depends on the person.
Right.
Because there are some people that I'm like, I'm not going to let you come anywhere near me. But then there's people like my mother who it's like, okay, you're allowed to touch me.
Yes. And this is another thing, right? In the holidays, everyone's supposed to hug and be with each other. And if you're one of these people that says, yo, I need a little bit more distance, maybe say, hey, give me a moment. I'd love to hug you and I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah. I've gotten myself in trouble at church because people think that I'm like my mom. I always say that my mom is golden retriever energy and I'm black cat energy.
Love it. What a good way to explain it.
It really does work because my mom is just the nicest, kindest. She'll hug anybody. And then there's me. I am not my mother. So when I go into her church for an event, they all think that they can come up and hug me. And I'm like, boundaries.
Beautiful. But that's oftentimes people don't do that, right? They don't say, hey, and you've explained it in such a great way that people can understand that.
One can hope. They get offended sometimes.
But how often, if you're the black cat and she's the golden retriever, how often have you been forced by the golden retriever to go and hug Uncle X and it actually felt a little bit off as a child?
Luckily, my mom was really good about that. I have seen that play out with other family members.
Yeah.
My mom was very protective over me as a kid, and we don't have to go into my childhood trauma, but that is one thing that my mom was very good about. She didn't make me hug anybody that I didn't want to hug. But I think at church, it's a different story because these are all her people, so she knows them and loves them and trusts them. But for me, it's, I don't know you.
And I think that's a really beautiful way to actually start talking about touch as well when you're with your family, saying, hey, how does that feel to be hugged by someone that you don't really know? What does it feel like in your body? Because most people won't even have thought about that.
I'm sitting here thinking it feels like alarm bells going off in my insides because I'm like, I don't know you. Don't touch me, please.
And beautiful. And do you ever communicate that? And those are the kind of things. That's why I like having these kind of cards, these kind of prompts that just spark that conversation that you all of a sudden you can have over the dinner table. Saying, oh my God, tell me about a time that you got hugged by someone that you actually just didn't want to get hugged by. And there'll be like hundreds of stories.
Especially women. You ask any woman about it and yeah. Anyways, I digress. That is a whole different conversation topic. Something that you were talking about earlier is how you work with single people. And so one question that I would have would be, how do you do this kind of work when you are single?
Really interesting. So all these cards and all these prompts that I'm giving you now, you can use them as journal prompts. How I teach a lot of people, because not everyone likes to write. Some people like to go for a walk and then just speak into their phone, because all these thoughts, all these emotions, all this content that comes up, right? Because everything, what we come up is like content and it can be the monkey mind. So just to get it out, to speak it out, actually really helps already. So I tell them just record it in your phone. And afterwards you can delete it if you want, or you can listen back to it, whatever, but you're getting it out. It's not stuck inside you anymore. So that's one way how to work with the prompts. Then another way with like touch, what I was telling you, showing you earlier is some self-touch. How often do we hug each other, hug ourselves? Like right hand on the left armpit and the other arm across from it. So that's the heart hug. When you do that, when you actually start to hug yourself and you notice that your heart rate goes down and your breath slows down, and then what does it actually feel like to receive touch from ourselves? We go so fast. So fast, so fast. We slap the cream on in the morning. We might even have some hand cream and we just slap it on. But do we ever actually slow down enough to receive our own physical touch? Do we get touched by walking outside and having the wind blow on our face? Maybe it's rain. Ow. And to stay curious, what does that actually physically feel like on my face? Do I like it? Do I not like it? Am I allowing myself to be moved by it? Piece of music. You're a musician. How does music touch you?
It's funny because if you would have asked me this 10 years ago, I probably would have said I have a black heart. Honestly, music never moves me. But I've gone through a massive healing journey with music. And now I probably listen to music more than I ever have in my life. And I'm also writing a lot more music, whereas before I was more arranging and producing. But now it's like I'm actually more in tune with my emotions. And so that's allowing me to actually write a lot more. And that's something that now it does move me a little bit different. I'm not that person that will hear a big piece of music and just start crying. That's definitely not who I am. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for me, I more feel it like when it's really good, I get excited.
Beautiful.
And so it's something that's helping me shift my energy. That's definitely something that I've noticed along the healing journey, is that music has the power to shift my energy.
Oh, completely. And what a beautiful way, right? To notice like how that touches you, how that moves you, right? It's exactly the same language, just different word for it. How am I letting this move me? And where you're saying that you're creating more. And I think creation is such an integral part of healing, of becoming more who we are. And creation is, if we're constantly in that fight or flight or trauma response, just intense experience, life happens to us, we can't be in creation at the same time. So that's where we actually just slow down and take a breath and come back to our bodies, all of that. And then you can create, and whether that's music or food or whatever your zone of genius is, that's when we're in our biggest essence. And really, that for a lot of people feels like joy.
Oh, yeah. I can tell you last week, I was going through some things personally, and I'd felt horrible for about 2 different days. And I went to rehearsal early, and I just started playing the piano. I played for probably about 20, 30 minutes, and I felt drastically different after playing the piano for 20 minutes.
It's a state changer.
It's incredible. Like, I don't know why I stopped. I took 4 years off of music.
Oh, wow.
That was my healing period. I took 4 years off. I mean, I took a few projects here and there, but I did not do it regularly. And now that I'm doing it regularly, I do find that I have a lot more joy and I have a lot more peace, because that music, that's what that brings me. And I'm sure it works that way. You have daughters that are artists.
I have daughters that are artists, but I also tell my clients, I'm like, even if you're feeling like crap, put on a timer for 5 minutes and put on some kind of dance song. And it doesn't have to be like, get your boogie out. It could be anything. It could be something emotional, but just move your body for 5 minutes to the music, or 3 minutes, or whatever, how long it takes to do a song. And they come back every single time. Frigging, hey, you're right. I'm like, yeah, I know. I know.
My new favorite song is Where's My Husband by Ray. And that song, it is so much fun. And as a musician, I'm just over here geeking out over all the horns, all of the harmonies. It's so much fun. I turned that on the other day, and I'm like, this is the best way to start my day.
And that's a beautiful way to ask when you're in the holiday season with your family, saying, hey, tell me, what's the favorite song of yours? Let's put it on. Tell me, what was a book that really impacted you and why? Get some communication prompts that you can actually ask each other so that you're not stuck throwing daggers across each other. With eyes, maybe.
Yeah, even holiday movies. My favorite movie is White Christmas. Actually, that's my whole family's favorite Christmas movie. We watch it every year together. And the music, God, the music. Anyways, that's what started my love for musicals as a child, was that movie. Love it. So it's movies, that kind of thing too. It can lift your spirits. It could honestly help. Maybe turning a movie on whenever things get tense might help dispel some of the stuff that could be happening.
Completely, but that's the whole thing, right? We really can just see, where are we getting activated? What can we do, right? Can we put on a movie? Can we do something else? Can you take the plates to the dishwasher to give yourself that moments of respite. And can you just be curious, saying, hey, what did you mean with that? Or I'm not in a state to answer that right now. Oh, really? Sometimes the whole thing, when they just throw something at you or they say something that you don't quite like, you just say, oh, really? That's interesting. Or not say anything.
Learning how to let things roll off your back is an art form.
Completely.
I definitely have had to learn that skill over the past couple of years, but we don't need to go there because we'll be here all day. So before we wrap, tell us about your holiday survival kit, what inspired it, how our listeners can use it to stay connected this holiday season.
So I have used these tell me prompts with couples with over 600 clients. And it's all started with, it's called a dyad. So it's the power of two, where you ask a question. And then the only thing that you basically answer is thank you when you've understood a communication. Because we often communicate and we don't listen to understand, but we listen to interject. We listen to tell our story about it. We listen, yes, we agree, or no. But we don't really listen to understand. And we may not like what people tell us. We may not agree with it. But if you just answer thank you, then that really takes the charge away. Like Alex and I still use it. My partner and I, we've been together 9 years nearly. And we used this on the other weekend. It was, tell me what you need me to know about you and your body. And I was like, oh, I've lost, like a lot of weight. I told you, like 25 pounds in 10 days because I got ill. So my skin is a little bit flabby around my arms and my thighs. And I just don't feel as attractive anymore. I have moments where I feel like that. And he just answered, thank you. Most men would be like, oh, but you're beautiful and I love you. And so that's not what I want to hear. I just want to hear thank you. And then I asked him and he said something and I said, thank you. And then we went back and forth a few times and it just deepened the connection. And you know that you can just bring something up without getting interjected, without getting fixed, without anything else. And it just really helps with creating intimacy, creating a way into me that you can see.
As you were talking, I think I had a revelation just on my own end because, again, single female here. Intimacy, I've always considered it to be something that was predominantly like a romantic relationship. But what you're saying in communicating is that you can have intimacy with anybody.
Yes.
With your family members, with your friends, with your coworkers. And it's all really just understanding at a deeper level.
Completely. And I think touch and the word intimacy gets so hijacked, and sensuality gets so hijacked by just couples, and where you have to have a romantic relationship with someone. It's like, no, you and I are having a very intimate relationship here now. We're having a very intimate conversation where I'm like telling you stuff about myself that I might have not told anyone else, and your listeners are hearing about it too. But it doesn't mean that we have to be in a romantic relationship.
Right.
And I think it just gets hijacked and people are like, that's what they're afraid of. Oh my God, no intimacy. No, we're not going there. It's like, no, don't you want to bring out what's on the inside a little bit more? Don't you want people to actually get to know the real you?
That's part of the reason I love podcasting so much, because it allows people to get to know each other on a deeper level. And especially because with it being audio, people get used to the sound of your voice and they feel like they know you. I can't tell you how many people I've had listening to my podcasts over the years. They feel like they know me. And that's a good sign that you're doing your job as a podcaster. But also, it shows the depth at which we're communicating.
Yeah. And I think also just having audio really helps people bring them back into their body. It brings a bit of safety also, because our attention span isn't as much as it used to be. By constant visuals, just listening to something. This is why I've actually created a couples experience, which is called The Beginning, where I take them through a custom audio for them to show the person who touches the person who's receiving, right? Receiving touch, the giving touch, and receiving touch. So for half an hour, I guide them just by audio after I've custom created that. And the people that have gone through this have gone, oh my goodness, it doesn't mean looking at a video before and trying to follow, but just to listen to your voice is so calming. And I actually didn't think I was doing anything wrong when my wife adjusted me.
I could listen to your voice all day long. It's so soothing and calming. So, well, Juliette, I love talking to you, and we could probably talk for hours and hours, but how can our listeners connect with you to learn more about your touch base and your cards and your one-on work that you do?
Well, first of all, I'm giving your listeners a coupon for the Holiday Touch Survival Kit. So that's a kit of 25 cards. I've just told you about the Tell Me cards. So you'll get that. I'll link it, or you'll link it, I'm sure, in here.
Yes.
And then they can go on my website, which is called feelfullyyou.com. And everything's in there. Find me on Instagram, Juliette Karaman, French spelling, so double T-E, Karaman. On Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. I think I'm even on LinkedIn. So I do quite a bit on there. There's another taster pack that you can just get these cards and start creating your own way that you let life touch you.
I love that. So we will make sure to put all of her links in the show notes, and then you can also check all of that out in the gift guide.
I also have a podcast called The Scrumptious Woman.
Yes, she does. We love her podcast.
I'm actually loving it. I'm recording again. So yes, also follow me on all the podcasts. Scrumptious Woman, you can listen to me a bit more, and there's loads of, I think there's over 150 episodes there now.
Love that. Thank you so much for being here. I always love chatting with you. And to our listeners, thank you for being here. Make sure to come back next week. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Holiday Survival Podcast. If this episode helped you feel a little bit more seen, supported, or sane during the holidays, it would mean so much if you'd leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and tap the 5-star rating on Spotify. It's a simple way to help more people find the show, and it truly makes a difference. For resources, links, and next steps from today's episode, just check out our show notes and be sure to click the follow button on whatever platform you're listening to this on so that you never miss an episode from this season. Remember, you don't have to navigate the holidays alone. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next episode.